Hello, 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 my loves. Happy Wednesday, and welcome to another edition of the monthly Astro Forecast live here in the Astro Room on YouTube. I am your host and your favorite astrologer, Mel of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So, if this is our first time meeting, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So, this channel is everything astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So, if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, or if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. All right, my love. So this is going to be the monthly astro forecast for the month of May 2024. It's so interesting. I feel like when we get to this part of the year, it's like everything begins to kind of blur together. The beginning of the year, it moves super slow. And then by the time you get to May, it's like May, then September, then December, right? The year is just flying by. And this month will prove to be not as dynamic as April. April was quite possibly the most dynamic month of 2024. However, we do have a very important transit going on in May, right? And I like to say that when I give these forecasts and when I tell you what's going on with the astrology every week or every month, it's not that everything happens in a vacuum, right? Like this happens on one day, this happens on another, and then that's it. Everything sort of works together and everything kind of builds on itself. And so the theme, I want to say, of 2024 is evolution, because we are experiencing some new type of energies that we haven't experienced in a long time. And I mentioned this in the yearly astro forecast for 2024, that 2024 is actually a build-up year. The showdown, like when shit is really going to pop off, is going to be 2025 into 2026. At that point, we are going to have some monumental astrological transits that many of us have not experienced in this lifetime. So we are literally on the brink of a new world. And a lot of people speak of this spiritually. A lot of people speak of this religiously. However, the astrology will literally show you that we are on the brink of a new world order, right? And you can kind of sense that because a lot of what we've known, a lot of what we've come to get used to is like literally crumbling before our eyes. And so we're entering into this new space. And May is one of those months where we are sort of getting acclimated to certain aspects of this new space, all right? We've got some fairly regular transits, but we do have something special this month that kicks off a year's worth of new energy. So I'm definitely excited to be bringing you this forecast and to let you know what May is all about, all right? But first, some housekeeping and announcements. So if you are joining me here live this evening, thank you so much for tuning in. I sincerely appreciate you. I already see we've got a few people in the chat. We've got Monarca, we've got Maminka, we've got Ramel, we've got Patricia. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I sincerely appreciate you. Definitely say hi on your way in and hit that like button as well. And so if you are joining me on the replay, I appreciate you just as much. And if you find value in this broadcast, definitely hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell if you haven't already. All right, so in terms of announcements, I'm so excited because the channel just hit 2,000 subscribers, okay? And that is monumental to me. I have been at this since 2020. Now, granted, I haven't necessarily been consistent since 2020, but definitely since 2022, I have been consistent. And the fact that I've gotten to 2,000 subscribers is such an amazing thing. And I could not have done it without you guys. I thank you guys so much for this. You have no idea what it means to me, because I took not only a leap of faith with this, but this was like spirit kind of dragged me to do this. I'm living my purpose here weekly on YouTube. And there are times when I'm like, should I be doing this? Does this even make sense? And the fact that you guys are rocking with me, the fact that you guys enjoy this, I'm beyond grateful and thankful for all of your support. So thank you so much for the 2,000 subscribers. And I cannot wait for this community to grow and for many more people to enjoy this content. All right. And if you saw my community post Every time I reach another 1,000 followers or subscribers, I should say, I will be doing a giveaway. So I will be doing a giveaway tonight. All right. So listen up because this is important. In order to be eligible for the giveaway, you got to do two things. Number one, you have to pay attention because at some point during this live, I will be flashing a certain word across the screen. And don't worry, you won't be able to miss it because it's accompanied by a sound. Whatever that word is that flashes across the screen, you're going to have to put it in the comment section what that word is. And by doing that, you will be entered into the giveaway. And the winner of the giveaway, there will be one winner, will not only get a free natal chart reading, but will have access to a new product that I am launching very soon. All right. It's going to be super cute, super astrology, right? So you get the free reading and you get this new product. All right. So again, listen up because during the broadcast, I'll be flashing a word across the screen accompanied by a sound. Put that word in the comment section and you will automatically be entered for the giveaway. All right. So pay attention and good luck. All right. So as always, if you are someone who is interested in your horoscope, you have no idea where to look, or perhaps where you're looking is not necessarily resonating, then definitely consider subscribing to my text service where you will get your horoscope texted to you every Monday morning. All right. And if you're interested, you will want to, okay, none of my graphics are working. All right. You're going to want to look in the description box below. You're going to want to text the word ZODIAC to the number 855-826-5544. Again, you will get your horoscope texted to you every Monday. All right. People seem to love it. It's short, sweet, to the point. Definitely resonates. So consider that. Info is in the description box below. All right. If you are someone who is interested in astrology, but you are completely lost, everything's sort of going over your head, or perhaps you have started studying astrology, but you're realizing that it's a lot to kind of get together, right? And you're having a little difficult time sort of putting everything in place, don't worry, I've got you covered. So I created this thing called the Astrology Basics Cheat Sheet, which is essentially the quick and dirty on everything you need to know to start studying and understanding astrology, namely the 4 pillars of astrology, which are the planets, the houses, the zodiac signs, and the aspects. So it's an 11-page PDF document that gives you a short summary on all of these so that you can start committing them to memory and realizing what everything is and how everything works together. All right. Because despite what anyone says or doesn't say, astrology is indeed a science. And like any science, it requires a good deal of study. So to help you start studying, I created this cheat sheet. So all you have to do is hit the link in the description box below, enter your email address, and you will be good to go. All right. All right. And so I'm also excited because I recently just launched my channel membership. If you are interested in becoming a roommate, then consider joining the channel. All right. So for a small monthly subscription fee, you will get access to extra content, early access to videos, and discounts forever on all of my products and services. All right. So if you are interested in that, the link will also be in the description box below. All right. So now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, let's talk about May. But first, let's talk a little bit about April and how April was. All right. So in April, we had an eclipse. We had a major transit, right? Which was Jupiter conjunct Uranus. All right. And then we also had Mercury going retrograde. So there was a lot of dynamic energy. So now that we're moving into May, we're kind of settling into everything. We're out of eclipse season, so we won't be revisiting any eclipse energy at least until the fall of this year, right? Pluto is in Aquarius. Jupiter and Uranus did their thing in Taurus, and now we are moving forward. And so May, thankfully, isn't as dynamic as April, but it still has quite a few shifts, okay? So one of the major things that I want to highlight is this. First, you want to take a look at where Gemini is in your chart. There is going to be quite a bit of planetary energy in the sign of Gemini. So wherever Gemini is in your natal chart is where you're going to be experiencing a lot of focus, a lot of intensity, a lot of situations arising in that area of life, right? Because all of that planetary energy that's concentrated in Gemini, that's the area of life where everything is going to play out for you. So definitely look at that. Number 2, and I will get into this a little bit later, but I want to mention it now before I perchance forget. Like I said before, 2024 is a build-up year. Between 2025 and 2026, we're going to be experiencing some major astrological changes that we have not experienced in our lifetimes. Okay, this is very important. The first of these changes actually happened earlier this year when Pluto moved into Aquarius. Okay, Pluto has not been in Aquarius in our lifetime. So this is something brand spanking new that we are all getting used to. And Pluto will remain in Aquarius for the next 20 years. I did a whole video on that. If you want to check it out, the link will be in the description box below. However, Pluto is the farthest planet in our solar system. And the other planets that are considered outer planets, meaning that these are planets that are far away from the Earth, include Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, and Jupiter for the most part, although typically it is just Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Now in 2025 to 2026, Neptune and Uranus will be moving into new signs. So we are going to be experiencing a world that is very different than what we've been accustomed to, and 2024 is getting us used to that. So Neptune has been in the sign of Pisces since 2012, okay? It's been there for quite some time. It's gotten comfortable there. However, Neptune is getting ready to move into the sign of Aries in 2025. However, beginning in May, Neptune is going to be at 29 degrees of Pisces. And this is important because anytime a planet is at 29 degrees of any sign, it's very intense energy. Okay. It's like the final squeeze of the orange to get that last bit of juice out. It's known as the anaretic degree, and it's a critical degree in astrology. So throughout the month of May, Neptune is going to be at 29 degrees of Pisces. And Pisces is actually the home sign for Neptune. So I want to talk a little bit about Neptune and Pisces and what that means. And I am going to do a dedicated video to this later on in the year. However, I wanted to mention this now because, again, May is going to be the start of this intense Neptune energy. Okay. So Neptune in Pisces is like fantasy. It's imagination. It is delusion, right? Anytime you think of your imagination, anytime you think of things that may or may not be real, you're talking about Neptune. And Neptune at the 29th degree of Pisces is the epitome of fantasy. It's the epitome of delusion, okay? Now, delusion is not necessarily a bad thing. You can be delusional in a good way, right? So those of you who are aware, right, it is your imagination that helps create your reality. So sometimes being delusional is what helps you achieve new things in your life. It's what helps you manifest new things in your life. However, the flip side of that is you can be completely out of touch with reality. And when you're that out of touch with reality, it can sort of be emblematic of like mental illness, you know, delusions of grandeur, all of those things, right? That's sort of the negative connotation of delusion. But I want to highlight this because at the 29th degree of Pisces, Neptune is going to be highly delusional. And what's really interesting, I think, is that this is where everything is going to take place. You know, we here in the United States, we're in an election year. And around the time of November, I believe that Neptune is still going to be at that 29th degree of Pisces. So we're in the midst of this election year where things are crazier than ever. We're seeing things that actually make no sense. We've never experienced before as a country, right? And then we have Neptune at 29 degrees, which is the epitome of delusion. Okay. So we're really at a very interesting time right now. And it's not to say that you cannot trust what you see or what you hear, although you do have to take things with a grain of salt because perhaps what you see is not necessarily reality. Okay. The level of out of touchness that people may be experiencing right now is going to be rampant because of Neptune being at the 29th degree of Pisces. So I say all of this to say that as, you know, we begin May, as we move into the summer and later on into the year, I feel like you're going to start to see a lot more crazy shit. I think that you're going to start to experience people who are crazy out of touch with reality. But you're also going to start to see, on the flip side, you're going to start to see people who are manifesting some almost impossible things in their lives. Energy is energy. It's neither good nor bad. I think as a society, we try to put a moral sticker on everything. This is good, this is bad. Things just are. It depends on how you use them. So you can experience this particular Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces as delusion, as straight craziness, or you can use it as fuel, as a way to unlock the limitations of your mind in order to manifest the things that you previously thought were impossible. And this is the perfect time to do so, because once Neptune goes into Aries, it's a completely different ball game. Neptune will no longer be in its sign, in its home sign. And so it's like I said, anytime you have a planet at the 29th degree, it's that last squeeze of the orange. So we're at that point right now where it's like you really need to be focused and intentional on what it is that you want. I don't care how fantastical it is. I don't care how impossible you think it is to have it. Now is the time to unlock the limits of your mind. Okay. And I say this again because this is the month where Neptune is going to be at 29 degrees and things are going to start to get a little weird. Okay. Don't allow yourself to get distracted by the weirdness. Don't allow yourself to get dragged into other people's weird fantasies or warped realities. Stay the course with respect to what you're doing and what it is that you want to achieve, but use this, like I said, to unlock your mind. All right. So definitely keep that in mind. All right. All right. Okay. All right. So now let's get into the highlights and see exactly what we've got going on for May. All right. So first up, we have what I like to call an inside job. And this is Pluto going retrograde in Aquarius. Okay. So by way of like an astrology lesson, typically, at least for the last couple of years, the first couple of months of the year, you'll find that most planets are moving direct. It's like we have this surge of energy where we can move forward and achieve things. But then beginning typically in May or June, you start to have planets starting to go retrograde. And this year, apart from Mercury, the first major planet to go retrograde is going to be Pluto in Aquarius. Okay. So Aquarius has everything to do with our mindset. And so Pluto retrograde in Aquarius is all about having us re-examine our mindset with an eye toward the future. Okay. So we're changing our mindsets. We're doing a lot of purging, which is going to be super important. And we're eradicating bad habits, particularly negative self-talk. All right. We're going to have ample opportunity to do this because Pluto is going to be retrograde in Aquarius for a couple of months. All right. But it begins in May. Then we have what I like to call busy as a bee, okay? And this is going to be the sun in Gemini. Now, we're going to have quite a bit of planetary energy in Gemini this month, like I said before, but sun in Gemini is really going to put a focus, a spotlight, if you will, on that area of life that's represented by Gemini in your natal chart, okay? So when the sun is in Gemini, there's typically a lot of activity. There's a lot of talking, a lot of communication, and there is a spotlight on duality, all right? Because Gemini, symbolized by the twins, duality, okay? And then finally, we have what I like to call, all right, I see all of you guys in the chat. All right, cool. You're going to have to put it in the comments section, though. That particular word you saw flashing across the screen, you're going to have to put it in the comment section, either now or at the end of the broadcast. So that way I can actually choose a winner, okay? And then finally, we have what I like to call blowing your mind, which is Jupiter in Gemini. So this is sort of the star event of May. Jupiter will be moving signs. It's currently in Taurus. And we just had that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in Taurus last week. And Jupiter will be moving into Gemini this month. All right. So this is a mental expansion. This is lots of fortunate opportunities And this is also a strong emphasis on the intellect. All right. It's going to be a really interesting and a very sort of busy kind of transit. All right. So let's get into the general astrology and see exactly what May is looking like. So first up, like I said, we've got Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. Then the new moon of the month is going to be in the sign of Taurus. Thereafter, we've got Mercury moving into Taurus as well after being retrograde in Aries. The sun will be moving into Gemini, like I just mentioned. Then the full moon of the month is going to be in the sign of Sagittarius. Venus will be moving into Gemini as well. And then we close out the month with that ultra expansive transit, Jupiter moving into Gemini. All right, so let's get into the month and see exactly what it is looking like. All right, so first and foremost, we've got Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. Okay, so Pluto entering Aquarius was a very big deal, right? This is sort of the breakthrough transit of the Aquarian age. This is the age of information. This is the age of AI. This is the age of technological advancements. Pluto in Aquarius essentially is taking us into the future. But what's interesting with Pluto retrograde in Aquarius is that we kind of have to take a couple of steps back and we have to examine the past. It's almost like a slingshot, right? In order to be propelled forward, you kind of have to be pulled back a bit. That's kind of how you can think about this Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And it all has to do with the mindset. So, what may be preventing you from having a mindset that can move you into the future? That is going to be the question that Pluto retrograde in Aquarius is going to be asking of you, okay? It's going to be a situation where you kind of have to examine perhaps any negative self-talk, any negative beliefs, any negative ideologies that you may be associating with that are standing in the way, again, of you moving forward into the future, okay? It's a very reflective kind of retrograde. But keep in mind, when we have outer planet retrogrades, meaning planets like Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, they stay retrograde from anywhere from 4 to 6 months. So it's not like a Mercury retrograde that moves relatively quickly, right? And things kind of happen in your face. Pluto retrograde is very subtle. It's a slow burn and it plays out over about 5 months. And over these 5 months, you're going to be sort of given opportunities to examine your beliefs, to examine how you speak to yourself, to examine what you're thinking about, right? But again, it's going to be very subtle. So if you're not intentional about it, you're actually going to miss it. And then when it's time to move forward and you're not moving forward in the way that you would like, you're like, well, what's going on? How come things aren't moving for me? It's probably because you've got a subconscious thought or a subconscious belief that's like a monkey wrench in all of the cogs of your mental recesses. Hopefully that makes sense. But you get what I mean, right? It's a time to examine your thoughts. And it's a very inwardly focused kind of energy. Now, Pluto is very intense. Pluto will have you looking at the ugliest sides of a situation. And when Pluto goes retrograde, a lot of times what's underneath the surface will really come up in a very visible sort of way so that you can examine it. However, what typically happens is it's not the fact that you don't notice it. Because it's things that have been under the surface, because it can be ugly things, it may sort of trigger you to the point where you don't want to address it. That's typically how Pluto works. It's like your worst traumas, your worst fears, your worst emotional wounds. And when they come up, rather than dealing with them, you're usually like, oh no, no, this is too much, whatever. And you just sweep it under the rug again. Don't do that. Pluto allows you to transform. Pluto is rebirth. Pluto is the pipeline between caterpillar and butterfly. And that pipeline is it's tough. It's not easy. right? I was having this conversation with a friend of mine not long ago, and I was saying how, as a society, like I'm someone who I'm not very big on taking like medicine, right? Like taking pills. I don't know the kind of person that I am. And I realized that we are a society that wants to avoid pain at all costs. Big pharma will shove painkillers, all of that stuff. And it's not to say that you have to be someone who loves pain, but pain is information. Pain is a teacher. And if you avoid it, you're avoiding the lesson. It's not easy. I think that we live in a society where we view anything that's difficult as unnecessary or as bad sometimes. And that's like the farthest from the truth. It's in adversity, it's in pain, it's in all of those things that we try to avoid where we have opportunities to level up. Okay. And so Pluto retrograde allows you to get your mind right, essentially, while it is still in Aquarius. So you should definitely use it for that. All right. And that is going down. That's the first event of the month. And that is going down on May 2nd. All right. Thereafter, we have the new moon of the month, which is going down in Taurus on May 7th. So Taurus is the first of the earth signs. So the last new moon we had was the new moon solar eclipse in Aries, which was a huge event. Like I said, thankfully, we are out of eclipse season right now, and we are sort of getting things back to normal. And so the first post eclipse new moon is going to be in the sign of Taurus. And Taurus is the first earth sign of the zodiac. So it's about building foundations and understanding what is valuable to you. So with a new moon in Taurus, and I will be doing a dedicated video to this. So this is just meant to be a very brief overview. But the new moon in Taurus is going to be about things that you value and planting those seeds, whether it's something material, right? Because Taurus is definitely material possessions is the realm of Taurus. So maybe you want to manifest something like a new car, maybe a big ticket item, something like that, right? You would use the new moon in Taurus in order to plant those seeds, okay? Other than that, Taurus is about value. So anything that makes you feel valuable, anything that you deem valuable in your life, you're going to want to plant those seeds at this new moon in Taurus, okay? It's going to be great for that. There's also going to be this element of expansion. Even though Taurus is a fixed sign and Taurus definitely likes to be stable, you have the opportunity to plant something new that perhaps can expand you, that takes you into a new realm, perhaps, that takes you into a new tax bracket even. Like this new moon is not necessarily about planting seeds of things you've already had, but perhaps things that you wish to grow into, things that you want to see grow in your life. All right. So it's going to be a very, very, very new moon. All right. So let me see. I keep seeing everyone saying that it's freezing. Oh no. Okay. Is it still frozen? Let me know if it's still frozen. Or can you hear me right now? If you can still hear me and I'm not frozen, put a 1 in the chat so I know that I'm good and I can keep going. It also looks like a whole bunch of people have already left. Okay, I'm not necessarily seeing anyone in here. Can you guys hear me? Am I frozen right now? Is it delayed? I do still see some people in here. Okay. I don't see anyone saying anything. All right. I'm not sure if I should start this live over, but if I start it over, it's going to be on a different link. I do see some more people in here. So if you can hear me and see me, okay, put a 1 in the chat so I know I'm not still frozen. Okay. This is weird because I see people in here. I'm getting text that YouTube is frozen, but the live hasn't stopped on my end. But yet I don't see anyone saying anything. Okay. Okay. So you're hearing me now. Because like I said, it hasn't stopped on my end. Like typically if it was frozen, like the live would shut down on my end, but it hasn't stopped. Okay. Okay, I do see some more people coming back in here. All right, so I'm going to continue. If problems persist, and I'm probably just going to have to stop the live and restart it. But in any event, let's just keep it moving, okay? All right. So next up, we've got Mercury moving into Taurus on May 15th, okay? So you will remember that Mercury was retrograde in the sign of Aries throughout April. And so finally, okay, perfect. All right, perfect. All right. And so finally, Mercury will actually be going direct this week. As a matter of fact, I believe Mercury is going direct tomorrow. And then on May 15th, Mercury will be moving into Taurus. So Mercury in Taurus is great for, I like Mercury in Taurus for business purposes, okay? Because Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus has a lot to do with money. So this is talking money. This is thinking about money. This is building foundations with respect to money. So I always find that when Mercury is in Taurus, it's a great time to conduct business. It's a great time to get very practical about your money. It's a great time to be a lot more grounded, okay? It's a great time to focus on Venusian things like beauty, like art, like music, right? It can also be a great time for creativity. Again, because Taurus is ruled by Venus, Venus has lots to do with creativity. Now, the one thing or the one caveat I will say about Mercury in Taurus is that it can lead to a lot of narrow-minded thinking and perhaps even conservative thinking, okay? Taurus likes the tried and true. As an earth sign, Taurus is really concerned with the five senses. So anything that falls outside of the realm of the five senses doesn't necessarily bode well with Taurus. So when we're talking about a planet like Mercury, which has a lot to do with communication and ideas, it's like you tend to be conservative in your thinking and you tend to not think outside of the box. Anything that can't be proven, anything that can't be backed up by evidence, anything that you can't touch, smell, taste, feel, or whatever, you tend to sort of discredit it. So Mercury in Taurus is great for building foundations. It's great for stability in terms of what you already have. However, if you're looking to accumulate more, if you're looking to develop new things, Mercury in Taurus isn't necessarily the best, okay? So essentially, Mercury in Taurus gets you to focus on what you already have. And, you know, being grateful, being appreciative for all of these things, you know, all of that stuff thrives when Mercury is in Taurus, okay? And again, your thinking is down to earth. It's grounded. You may find that while Mercury is in Taurus, you are having more conversations, perhaps about money, assets, things like that. It's a great time to focus on getting your money situation situated, basically. I feel like that's the best use of the energy of Mercury in Taurus, okay? Then thereafter, we've got the sun moving into Gemini on May 20th. So beginning on May 20th, Gemini season begins. And so I alluded to this before. Gemini season tends to be a very busy season, okay? So Gemini season runs roughly from May 20th to June 20th. And depending on where you are, that's typically the time when school ends. That's the time when you have graduations. That's the time when you have prom. There's so much activity that's always jam-packed in Gemini season because Gemini is the busy bee of the zodiac. It's the time, or it's the season, I should say, when people are a lot more communicative, when people are a lot more chatty, when people are curious. The one word I always use for Gemini is mixy. Gemini energy is very mixy, and not in a bad way. It's just more so all over the place. It's multitasking, it's learning, it's teaching, it's just doing a lot. So when the sun is in Gemini, we tend to sort of tap into that energy. So we're multitasking, we're communicating more. Gemini energy can be very scattered. It's like all over the place. Not even imagine, but think about when you are multitasking. Let's say you're doing 3 tasks at the same time. You're not necessarily focusing on any of those 3 tasks. You're kind of doing bits and pieces. And that's kind of the essence of Gemini energy. It's like bits and pieces, scattered energy, doing the most. And it can be very superficial. Because if you're multitasking, you're not necessarily getting to the meat and potatoes of whatever you're doing. You're kind of superficially handling things. And that tends to be the focus, or that tends to be sort of how things are when the sun is in Gemini. Again, it's a time where we're more communicative. We can be a little more fickle, a little less stable, as opposed to, let's say, like Taurus energy that's very grounded and stable. Gemini energy is all over the place. So again, you're going to want to look at where Gemini is in your natal chart. That is where the focus will be once the sun goes into Gemini. All right. Then we move on to the full moon of the month, which is happening on May 23rd, and that is going to be the full moon in Sagittarius. So the full moon in Sagittarius, whenever the full moon is in Sagittarius, the key word is growth, expansion. Typically, when the full moon is in Sagittarius, it shows us where we are being limited, where we're playing small, where we may be keeping ourselves sort of locked into a corner or locked into a situation. The full moon in Sagittarius typically shows you a broader perspective. Sometimes even the full moon in Sagittarius will push you to grow, push you to expand, sort of give you no choice but to break down barriers, okay? And it could either be really exciting or it could be kind of jarring, especially if you're someone who's resistant to change, especially if you are someone who likes to take things a little slow. Sagittarius energy is expansive and it's a fire sign. So this expansion typically happens kind of rapidly, okay? So it's going to show you again where you are being limited. And of course, I'll be doing a dedicated video to that. But suffice it to say, there's going to be an undercurrent of relationships with this particular full moon in Sagittarius. And so this full moon may show you which relationships are weighing you down, keeping you small, or keeping you limited, right? Everything about Sagittarius wants to expand you, wants you to see things from a different perspective. And perhaps you're in an environment where things have been stale, where there's been a very limited perspective or a limited point of view. And that full moon is going to show you just how limited things have been. So it's going to be important for you to allow yourself to expand, to allow yourself to develop, to allow yourself to experience something different, okay? Again, that could either be really exciting, and typically Sagittarius energy is very optimistic. So I don't get the sense that it's going to be a situation where It's going to be emotionally intense and perhaps negative. I feel like it's going to be a situation perhaps where you're excited about the new possibilities that are opening up to you. Okay. You're just kind of going to have the courage to step out of your comfort zone. So that should be a really interesting full moon. Okay. Then next up after that, we've got Venus moving into Gemini, and this is happening on May 23rd. So this month, nope, that's not this month. That was last month. Never mind. I was going to say that Venus moves twice this month, but that is not true. Venus is only moving once this month, and that is movement into Gemini. So much like the sun in Gemini, when Venus moves into Gemini, there is definitely a focus on relating to other people. Not so much in a romantic way or even a substantive kind of way. It's more of like connecting with people, like networking in a sense. Venus in Gemini loves talking to people, loves communicating with people, loves learning from people. There's an exchange of ideas, an exchange of words, exchange of beautiful things, even transactions, right? So when Venus moves into Gemini, I feel like it's going to continue this season of busyness that Gemini is known for. But it's going to put a focus on relationships, perhaps even the relationships that are closest to you. And when I say closest to you, I mean the ones that are in your immediate vicinity, whether it's your coworkers, whether it's your family, whether it's your friends that live close to you. There is perhaps going to be a lot of communication, a lot of phone calls, text messages, emails, and things like that. At least here in the United States, this is sort of the beginning of summer, right? Well, actually, Memorial Day is the beginning of summer. So yes, it's right around that time. So that's when people start coming out of hibernation, start going on trips, start planning things, start going out more. And Venus in Gemini will give you that boost of energy to socialize and to talk to people and meet new people and learn things from people and exchange ideas. Again, very busybody and a mixy kind of energy, but it's sort of the emblematic energy for the summer. So I always love when Venus moves into Gemini. All right. And then last but certainly not least, we have the star transit of the month, which is Jupiter in Gemini. So again, you're going to want to look at Gemini because this is where everything is popping off in May, okay? However, Jupiter in Gemini is a big deal because Jupiter changes signs every year. So last year, Jupiter moved into Taurus, and this was about material abundance, right? This was value. This was expanding how you see and value yourself. And now with Jupiter in Gemini, we're going to be taking that mixy, multitasky, busybody energy, and we're going to amplify it by like 10. So Jupiter in Gemini is going to provide a lot of activity, a lot of opportunities for abundance. I'm going to say that again. Jupiter in Gemini is going to provide a lot of opportunities for abundance, opportunities for expansion, opportunities for growth, and it's going to give you a plethora of these opportunities. Sounds great, right? And it is. Don't get me wrong. It's not like it's a bad thing. However, notice how I said before with Gemini energy, it's multitasking. You're not necessarily getting down to the meat and potatoes of anything. It's just very superficial. So imagine you've got all of these opportunities coming to you. Without discernment and without some kind of plan, it's almost like you're going to be given ample opportunity, but also achieve nothing. The phrase that comes to mind is jack of all trades, but master of none. Okay. So it's like this, you have job opportunities, money opportunities, relationship opportunities. But if you're just skating the surface with all of these things, you're at the end, when this transit is said and done, it's almost like you're not going to have anything to show for it. You need to have a plan. You need to have discernment because not all opportunities are good opportunities. Just like people say, not all money is good money. All right. So you definitely want to be discerning with these opportunities. And these opportunities should be in alignment with where you are trying to go. Right? I said Jupiter is all about expansion. It's not about staying where you are. Jupiter is about venturing out of your comfort zone. It's about broadening your horizons. It's about expanding your mind and your experiences. So, perfect opportunity. And this is actually a personal one from my life, right? Even though Jupiter is not yet in Gemini, I've been having so many different conversations with, the people around me about different trips to take this year. I have about maybe 5 or 6 trips that I'm in the works planning, right, between now and the end of the year. Some of these trips, these are places I've been before. And there's one trip that is like halfway around the world. And to tell you that I'm excited and nervous about it is an understatement, right? However, this trip is going to be extremely important for a lot of different reasons. But again, it's a little scary because it would definitely take me out of my comfort zone. Whereas I could focus on the trips that are to places I've already been to, right? Because I know that it's fun, it's whatever. Discernment with respect to what is going to expand you, help you grow, develop as a person is going to be key when all of these opportunities start flying in your face, okay? Abundance will abound with Jupiter in Gemini. You won't be able to say that there are no opportunities or things are kind of dry in your life. There's going to be a lot, but you have to pick and choose what's most important. All right. So this is going to be super important. And like I said, Jupiter remains in every sign for a year. So we'll have from May of this year till June of 2025 to enjoy Jupiter in Gemini. All right. So I will be doing a dedicated video on that as well. So definitely stay tuned for that. But that is the highlight of May. It's the most important transit of the month. And that is actually how we end the month, astrologically speaking. All right. And also for my roommates, my channel members, you will be getting dedicated sign-specific videos for the May forecast beginning next week. All right. So definitely stay tuned for that. All right. So now that we've talked astrology, let's get into some messages and see what Spirit has to say for May. All right. So, you know the deal. Pick cards for messages from Spirit. I do these by sign. It could be your sun sign, moon sign, Venus sign, Jupiter, North Node. Doesn't matter if it is your message, it is for you. And of course, if it is not, then it is not. All right. So, of course, we begin with Aries. So, let's see what we have for Aries for May. All right, Aries, we have the High Priestess. All right. So this month is going to have you really listening to your intuition. I get the sense that you guys, your intuition has been pretty loud lately already. And I feel like it's only going to get louder in May. And it's really important that you listen to it and understand the difference between your instinct and your intuition. Your instinct is like your animal instinct. It's like sort of the default for you. Your intuition is a lot deeper. It's a lot more spiritual. It comes from a higher place. It's arguably higher vibrational than your instincts. So it's really important that you tune into your intuition in May. All right. It is going to tell you everything that you need to know. It is actually going to uncover a situation before the situation actually unfolds. So whatever your intuition is telling you will likely be very correct in the month of May. Okay. Next up, we've got Taurus. Let's see what we've got for Taurus for May. Taurus. We've got the King of Cups. All right, Taurus. So there may be a King of Cups that is significant in the month of May. Cups are water signs, so that could be Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. However, I feel like more so than this being an actual person, although for some of you, I think it is, this is just mastering your emotions, okay? Now, Jupiter was conjunct Uranus in your sign the other day, as a matter of fact. And so Jupiter and Uranus may have rocked things in your life. And the presence of the King of Cups card for May lets me know that things kind of settle down for you emotionally in May. I don't think that things are rocky. And I'll say this, if things may be rocky in your life, I feel like you are handling it very calmly, very, there's this amount of emotional maturity that I think that you have this month, but you're able to get a handle on your emotions. And I feel like that's really good for you because you guys have some major plans that you're working on, and you can't necessarily afford to have your emotions sort of get in the way and drive the car. You guys need to get a handle on your emotions, and I feel like that you're going to be able to do that in the month of May. So that's really good. All right. Next up, we've got Gemini. Let's see what we've got for Gemini. Gemini, we've got the Page of Cups. So there is something going on in the month of May that may elicit an emotional response. This could be news of an emotional nature. So it could be like a baptism, a wedding, the birth of a child or something like that. The presence of the fish is sort of giving business. Like there may be new business on the horizon. There may be a new business opportunity that makes you feel really happy, that makes you feel really optimistic. Either way, there's something new happening in May that's going to elicit an emotional response from you. And I get the sense that it's going to be overwhelmingly positive. All right, so enjoy it. Next up, we've got Cancer. Let's see what we've got for Cancer for May. Cancer, we've got the Five of Cups. All right. So the last couple of signs have all gotten cups. A lot of emotions this month, it seems like, for most of the signs. All right. But Cancer, this is a month where perhaps you're not feeling the best. There could be feelings of regret, of sadness, sort of being introspective. And I feel like Pluto retrograde is really going to assist with this. Being very introspective, really thinking about the things that perhaps didn't go well in the past, and perhaps how to fix them or ameliorate them so that things can go better in the future. But there is this overwhelming sense of regret, of sadness, of things not having panned out the way that you wanted them to. And this is a good starting point. It may not feel the best, but I say that it's a good starting point because it's in recognizing how things didn't go as planned, perhaps how maybe you should have done things differently. That gives you the opportunity to do things differently in the future. So I feel like May may be a month where you're very much maybe down in the dumps a little bit, but also very reflective, which I think can be very beneficial to you going forward. All right. Next up, we've got Leo. Let's see what we have for Leo for May. All right, Leo, we've got the Fool card. So May is all about new beginnings for you. And you are being asked to take a large leap of faith. Like I'm seeing someone taking a running and then jumping off a cliff, right? I know, a little dangerous, but that's the level of risk that this new beginning may be asking of you. It also may be a situation where you kind of have to make a decision kind of quickly, where, you're not going to have much time to think about it. You kind of just have to jump. Like you're not even going to have the opportunity to overthink because before you know it, like you're going to have to make the decision and then things are just going to start very suddenly. And that's okay. That's a good thing. Whatever this is, I feel like it's going to be in alignment with what you truly desire. So it's going to be kind of easy to take this risk. However, I feel like people around you may try to psych you out, or they may be like, are you sure that you want to do this? Oh, you're moving really fast. Like, are you sure that you want to move at this pace? Like, you might have to quiet all that noise and just do what you feel guided to do. But I love this for you because May is definitely a month of new beginnings. All right, next up, we've got Virgo. Let's see what we have for Virgo for May. All right, Virgo, you don't seem to want to share with me just yet. All right, there we go. All right, so Virgo, you've got two. You've got the Sun card and you've got the Five of Cups. This is like the sun coming out after a very cloudy day. So if you've been experiencing a lot of sadness, regret, heavy emotions. It's almost like there's been a black cloud over you, over your life for some time. The sun is finally coming out. This is also like coming out of the cave. This is finally seeing the light of day. Something is ready to be revealed, something about you. Perhaps something that you've been working on is ready to be revealed. Perhaps it's been slow going, which has attributed to you feeling like this, feeling sad, feeling regretful, feeling like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done this. It's okay. It's like, it's your time in the sun right now. So May seems to be a month of emergence. It seems to be a month of, again, your time in the sun after a season of cloudiness. All right. So don't be afraid to step into the limelight. Don't be afraid to step into the warmth. Don't be afraid to shine. It is indeed your time. Okay. Okay. Next up, we've got Libra. Let's see what we've got for Libra for May. Okay, Libra, we've got 2 cards for you as well. First, we have the King of Cups and we have the 8 of Cups. So I feel like May is also going to be an emotional month for you. I definitely see a departure from, so like I said, I forgot which card this was. I think it was Taurus. This is mastering your emotions. And I feel like you've come to a point in time where you're walking away from emotional turmoil. You're walking away from either situations that were emotionally tumultuous, or you're finally moving past a point in your life where you felt like your emotions were running you or controlling you or just like running you ragged. It's like you're getting to a point of emotional stability this month and you're walking away from anything that doesn't represent emotional stability. So it's almost like you feel like you've been sort of tossed around by your emotions. And I feel like May is the month where you start to feel a lot more emotionally stable and a lot more emotionally grounded as well. So I feel like May is going to be an important month for you moving forward because now you feel like you have a handle on your emotions. You understand them. And by understanding them, you can actually start to move forward. Okay. All right. Next up, we've got Scorpio. Let's see what we've got for Scorpio for May. Okay. All right. I usually don't take what's on the floor, but I'm being guided to do so right now. Scorpio, you've got the 2 of Cups. So healthy relationship that is emerging for you in May. And I think it is a romantic relationship. I think that it's time for 2 people to finally come together. I'm seeing unity. I'm seeing synergy. I'm hearing birds of a feather flock together. So this could be a month of union. This could be a month of sort of finding your match, your soulmate, that kind of a thing. But there is definitely a relationship that is emerging in May, and it seems pretty good. And what I like about this is that it's like 2 people who have kind of been doing the work on their own, who are kind of finally coming together. So they're kind of equally yoked. They're sort of on the same frequency. And it's just finally been time for them to actually come together. So this is very beautiful energy for you, Scorpio. I really like that. So May should be quite interesting in that regard. All right. Next up, we've got Sagittarius. Let's see what we've got for Sagittarius for May. All right, Sagittarius. We've got the Hanged Man and we've got the 8 of Wands. So there is this energy of moving forward very quickly after a period of stagnancy. That period of stagnancy was meant to show you something, to show you a different perspective, perhaps even to broaden your perspective or to enlighten you. And it's almost like, okay, so I don't like the imagery on this card. However, it's almost like, think of this as like a battery being charged, these 3 drops, right? And it's like finally your battery is fully charged, you're enlightened, and now it's time to move forward. And it's like it's almost like you're making up for lost time as well. So maybe you've been down and out for a couple of months. whatever is meant to sort of transpire in the next couple of months, it's going to happen very quickly and rapidly, right? You may be traveling someplace far. You may be learning a lot, experiencing a lot. Again, I'm hearing like making up for lost time. However, even if you find that you're in the same situation, you're going to be approaching it differently because that time out, again, was meant to enlighten you. And so, again, even if you're experiencing the same things, you're not going to experience these same things in the same way because your battery is fully charged and you are enlightened. All right. So definitely look forward to that. Okay. Because I feel like life is about to get very different from here on out. Next up, we've got Capricorn. Let's see what we've got for Capricorn for May. All right, Capricorn, we've got the sun. So lots of positivity, lots of recognition in May. So this may be a month where you're leveling up. So maybe you are graduating. Maybe you are getting a promotion. Maybe you're being recognized for your work. Either way, a lot of eyes are going to be on you in the month of May. A lot of recognition, reward your time in the sun. All right, so enjoy it because you have definitely deserved it. You definitely deserve it, I should say. Next up, we've got Aquarius. Let's see what we've got for Aquarius for May. All right, Aquarius, we've got the Two of Pentacles. So there is something that is trying to sort of materialize right now, and you have to sort of make a choice. The example I'm getting like materials for like a home, like picking out which tiles or picking out which paint to use. There's lots of material decisions to be made, and I feel like it has to do with the home. So perhaps you're renovating, perhaps you are updating your home or your living space. Lots of decisions that will lead to, things that you have to buy, right? Home materials, tile, paint, all of that stuff. Like I see money being spent on those things, but it's giving you an update. It's sort of this breath of fresh air in your material space that's happening for you in May. All right. So a lot of, should I get this? Should I get that? Should I try this? Should I try that? Maybe you're even talking to different contractors, different, handymen even on who to do the job or whatever, right? But I see a lot of that in May for you. So May seems to be a very practical month around the home that's centered around like home improvement and renovation. Okay. That was oddly specific, but I'm sure that message resonates with somebody. And last but certainly not least, we've got Pisces. Let's see what we've got for Pisces for May. Pisces, we've got the Justice card, which is the card of Libra. So I feel like there are going to be decisions that need to be made, but I feel like you may be on the fence with them. For some, the energy of Libra is going to be prevalent for you. Libra has to do with relationships. It could also be someone who is a Libra, whether a sun, moon, or rising, that's prevalent this month in your life. But there is this balancing act that needs to take place. And perhaps it's balancing different mindsets. Perhaps it's balancing different relationships. Perhaps it's balancing different jobs. It's like you feel like you've got two things that are seemingly different or are at opposite ends of the spectrum. However, May is going to be a month where you find a happy medium between the two. It's not like you have to choose one or the other. There may be times where you have to prioritize one over the other, but it's not an either or kind of situation. It's both conversation, and finding the balance, finding the sweet spot between the two is going to be the focus for May. So May find you very busy. I mean, again, with all of this Gemini energy, that makes sense, but it's like you're playing balancing act in May. All right. So it's not a bad thing. All right. Just remember that you don't have to choose one or the other. You just have to find a way to make both of them work. All right, my loves. So that concludes this edition of the monthly Astro Forecast. I sincerely hope that you got at least one important piece of information that you can use going forward into this new month. All right. Hopefully you were able to catch that magic word that will allow you entry into the giveaway. And don't forget to put that word in the comment section down below. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I wish you nothing but the absolute best for the month of May. And I will see you guys in my next broadcast. All right, my loves. Have a happy month. And take care.